Many people, of course, are always looking to move up on their job, but there's one woman whose career takes her to new and even dangerous heights. Take a look. In Oklahoma City, if we get to 86 degrees, that will beat out your old record of 82. Thunder, I was up in upstate New York just the other day, and we thought it was a truck rumbling by, but it was actually a rumble of thunder on the northern edges. But for the most part, it's still relatively mild across a good chunk of the country. Here's our upper disturbance diving to the southeast. I-20 as we get into Tuesday, that could slow you down. And even I-10, that will be impacted too. And a lot of you still on spring break end in view. And right now we have the thunderstorms that we're watching across the Great Lakes region. Some of them have been turning severe, especially to the east until Thursday. I know we've got flash flood watches in effect for a place like New Orleans. We also have the heavy rain slated for Mobile, otherwise a few showers and storms down in Florida. Very warm and humid, so the power outages there. But you see, it doesn't make a whole lot of progress as we head into the second half of the weekend. It stays very warm. Nations across the eastern half of the country. Chicago, you've been in the 90s the past couple of days, and we have been breaking long-standing records. Again, not as nice as the first in parts of the Northeast. Well, the leaves are just starting to change in some cities.
They are. Kind of hurry your eyes, Kelly.
Can we just go back to their discussion about parking garages? No, I guess we must move on. All right, Winter Storm Frankie, you guys, it all started in the west, now making its way through the northeast.
And also generally across parts of the east, as it has just been springtime temperatures for February, which again we've got dew points near 65 and 70 here in the lowest levels of the atmosphere. To Brownsville, again, depending on the location, we could be seeing higher totals here along the Louisiana coast, but Liana, it's also time to act. Make sure that you secure any loose items around the house and in the exterior. Well, so we're seeing now some indications of an eye being very clearly visible on the satellite imagery. We'll actually get to that in just a second. Tropical system, you can see here's that strong band moving through the Houston area right now, but a much stronger, unfortunately, out beyond 5 days. The details are still coming together. It's a very large storm, so the impacts here are going to be felt far away from the center, Sienna, but things are really getting stretched out here and moving about as that moisture eventually makes you go. That's the island of Dominica right there. And look at this. That eye wall is literally within 30 miles. We're also pushing it to the north. We're expecting that system to move fairly quickly, but from a border. And now we can get a closer view about what we're expecting. We can show you the reasonable worst case scenario. Just really wet here over the majority of the Florida Peninsula for this weekend. We could be seeing some pretty major flooding issues even downstream of some of these areas. Yeah. One of Weather Channel's meteorologists was actually near all three landfalls from Harvey, Irma, and Maria.
Made worse by the fact that it wasn't cold enough for the precipitation to
rush the leaves. Whatever might be left here can really be the spark for a fire.
I'm still all around Kansas City.
Yeah, but just not in Kansas City. Kansas City's sneaky. They've had a lot of sneaky statistics this year. But look at this. We've had accumulating snow down, reaching down to the panhandle of Florida. So this sounds good. If only all the show songs really made that noise.
I think a lot more people would be scared of them.
Let's stick with it. How about a whirlwind in a field to start?
Over on the radio tower to the right of the main stroke, big stroke, and
and we look towards the next weekend. Why not, right? Sure. That's what we want. Are flying more flights out of, say, places like St. Martin, obviously canceling the flights heading to those locations. Yeah. Forward, it gets a little bit smaller. Time to prepare, as our experts say. Squirrel. I can't be going. All right, so
it could be quite dry.
All right, so watch cigarette butts, things that create sparks. Got to be careful out there in the parts of California. Well, with snow in the air for other areas, it is to Dr. Navarro, because we talk about the fire weather forecast staying high, and any time.
Right, yeah. And in the summertime thunderstorm, which we have here, it is huge. It goes.
Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your questions. Hashtag WUTV. We do it every night. If you've got them for all of us here at Weather Underground, thanks for watching. We'll see you same time tomorrow.
Wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings in effect over the northern plains and a little bit further west over Idaho.
Another spot, Atlanta. We're also seeing the main threat from now through 5 a.m. Saturday.
And here's some avalanche safety tips right there. Plan ahead is the biggest thing that we can turn to.
For the car wash, do the car wash. Just so you know,
We just had some rain push through. Athens just barely got cut from that rain. And a little bit into your average high is right around 59 degrees. We'll be hovering right around there for the next couple of days and then skyrocketing this evening. The wind really lingers across the area at least just before midnight. If we time it out, this is our future radar, thunderstorms pop up. So we're going to start the timing out right around Thursday. We're starting to see that tracking the hail associated with it. Very large hail being reported, but here we go.
We're seeing those storms rolling through the east, starting to fill in as we get into Sunday night.
Watching that view right there, that camera view, very closely. Indianapolis, we're taking a closer look at your forecast, though, right now. You're starting to see some showers continue. Your 4th of July starting off pretty soggy. Marietta, you just had a oxide poisoning. And to talk a little bit more about that, here we go. We're looking at a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas across California, and they are creating chaos in a number of communities. But in the midst of the chaos, full whammy over here. Still, lots of moisture just streaming from south to north, tapping into some tropical moisture further south. Here's a look at live radar. All of that blue is indicating that snow. You can see that snow rain line right there, kind of where that pink mix is in right there. Navarro with the latest.
Who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting for?
Well, hey, I was trying to be politically correct.
So you're saying you're not rooting for the people of Houston? Yeah, I did that. I said that.
You went there.
He's just being mean. He put you on the spot.
Exactly. I am rooting for the Dodgers. I didn't wear my Dodger blue. Paul was messing with me. But I will be happy with either team, you know?
Yeah,
for years.
So many people move north, but they just don't get rid of all that equipment, and it just sits in their garage. At this point,
Should I have gone to Syracuse? It's chilly on campus.
Is that the...
See it. I see. Oh, that's awesome. Just don't be distracted by all. Keep that in mind. But it's also running into where, as Mark pointed out, it's just cold enough.
I asked them to grime off there. Shout the wheels. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. All right, Atlanta.
Amazing imagery, but the science will continue. We will continue to dig deep into how these storm systems.
Hey, obviously we're tracking some showers and thunderstorms now through parts of Indiana and Ohio. Watch, get the kids out there with the hose, and you're good to go.
And maybe your car gets washed. The kids get wet for sure. Maybe the car gets washed.
We're getting through tonight, and you can see even on into New England, hanging out for that morning drive. So heads up for cities like Boston. That's still going on, especially along the coast, I-95 corridor, and then offshore, miles per hour. As far as the rain, you see even through this evening from the Chesapeake Bay down towards Norfolk, where practice and, of course, the weather. And then you've got that 65-mile trek to Atlantic City, by the way, for the 30th annual Irish Pub Tour de Shore. You didn't pick up on that? No, you are a natural force of nature. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I tear stuff up.
Oh, boy. A cat five. Cat five.
Bears taking on the Panthers. Panthers surprising at a 4-2 record right now.
Where's that coming from?
I don't know, Chris. It's a haunted lab.
It is a haunted lab.
Actually doing an eclipse in South Carolina. Just an amazing sort of switch.
Right, jump into big piles of snow because you kind of really don't know what's underneath that snow. Just be careful out there. Fun to watch, but you know, we're feeling the chill in the south and the southeast as well. And in the case of
just a minute, but first, this is the beginning of the storm that is going to be affecting us in the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast. Right now, it's into the Midwest. It's not good for mudslides and whatnot, but great news for the drought there in California.
It's been ongoing for years.
Still, it's hard to believe that we're in mid-February. Quarters for weather, I'm Stephanie Abrams alongside Jen Carfagno and Kelly Cass. Half might be like, okay, I'm going to stay in for a little while longer because it's nice and warm and cozy in here at 55 degrees. So let's talk about all these ups and downs that we're going to see and our departures from normal, because we're going to be 50ing itself known, and that is going to help prompt the severe weather that we are going to see as we end the second half of the week. 71, Atlanta is at 61. How exactly does this happen?
What separates the two?
Yeah, well, It is causing any problems here into Florida. Look at the dry air also associated with it. This whole system's pushing it, but you see this front goes all the way out into the Atlantic's cloud cover, and this is where Irma in the exact same position. But Florida, don't stress, don't fret. This is not going to take the same path of Irma because...
Did anyone else feel like you needed an ice scraper or your defrosters on during that segment? Anybody else? Anyone else?
The fires are burning through California's wine country, threatening the region's vineyards and wineries. Wine, of course. You have this big, area like this. They have plenty of room to dance around. When it's on the ground and it's that small. When winter makes a blunder and stresses what you're under, just remember 500 because that's the number. Meteorologist Kelly Cass and Jim Cantori. Millions of people hitting the roads for this busy holiday travel week. Fog settling into the south, though it's been hanging on here for the last couple days. AMHQ, your travel headquarters at 20 and 40 past the hour. Rain pushes across the east this week. One safety company has looked at all the states, the whole region, and we need it here. Maybe we get a little bit of snow. Second latest on record, December 26th. So, and if it does fall, by the way, it's not going to be a ton, and then we're going to see that sunshine.
We see that Friday night into Saturday. That's going to be the timing of that. Then we turn our attention to the west here. What a big deluge of moisture we have coming in. More on this forecast.
The next couple of days, starting, of course, with what we're dealing with right here into the south and east, and that wintry weather taking shape. Plus, in the west, got to talk about what's happening in the west, too, because you have a big weekend.
But the overall trend is for temperatures to warm there. It's just that some cold air is going to keep on coming in across northern parts of New England, and that's where you'll hang on to the snow and the slippery roads and rain that come with that forecast. But you jump right into the 70s by Sunday. This is when the sun comes back out. We're nearly 80 in Charlotte for those pop-up showers and storms. There's going to be a couple of days of storm chances and really ramping up starting tomorrow. Friday, a stormy one on tap, although maybe a lot of today might be okay. It's really by later today and tonight that we get these storms going in Oklahoma, Arkansas. We hold on to some mild air. But overall, this is not a hot week really for anyone except for maybe parts of the middle of the country. Let's talk about the next storm system coming up but a lot of us all the way through the East Coast. And there's actually a similar upper level low that sets up on the west that gets you on the cooler side as well. So where you go for warm, for minutes. Also, this new one. Look at all these little spin-ups that are just happening. This one up here, up towards the New Bern area. The New Bern, you're just outside of it. Watching this cell as it continues to track to the north. And Charlotte coming close, Montgomery coming close, and Tampa, again, within a degree anyway of that record. In the east, we've been dealing with a very stormy pattern. Every other day, or every 18 hours or so, we've been getting these storms coming in through the Great Lakes. It's all temperature-wise, how nice it's going to be across portions of the east. But we got to get through today first, and that's going to mean some thunderstorms. With rain that's already been heavy at times. Rain, we saw that in Pennsylvania. Today, much less in the way of thunderstorm activity. So if you're heading out now, Raleigh, Richmond, I-40, I-95, neither one, besides traffic, has region. Tropical storm force winds extend out about 300 miles, and that's why we're expecting those kind of conditions. With today, of course, the overview continues to be with rain in the east, related moisture in the northeast, general showers and storms in the southeast to next week. First of all, in the west, just to give you an update on the rain situation in California, there's none in the forecast. We will get some rain and possible thunderstorms in the northwest. For the weekend, it is Thursday, which is Friday Eve. A lot going on as we take a look at that forecast for you. Weather-wise, in the south, there's not going to be a lot in the way of rainfall. Let's start with a stride. No precip in the sky. If you want to be safe, 125 is the space.
Front is going to bring some cold air behind it. That's when we get into some snow. There is a coastal low, and I know that worries you when I say that.
We've got your weekend in view forecast, and the pattern change coming is that we're going to break down this ridge a little bit in the west. It's actually going to move a bit into the middle of the country. That will at least help, I think, give us some relief from the relentless Santa Ana winds that we have seen over